Welcome back to our channel Hidden Coins World. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1, the United States of America 1 dime from 1967 stands tall, a coin that, at first glance, might look ordinary, but when examined closely, reveals layers of history, craftsmanship, and value far beyond its face worth. Today on Hidden Coins World, we are about to embark on an extraordinary journey, exploring the story behind the 1967 1 dime, uncovering its hidden details, and eventually discovering why this seemingly small coin has reached a jaw-dropping value of $36 million in the collector's market. So, sit back, relax, and allow me to guide you through a tale that combines American history, artistry, and the thrill of treasure hunting. The year 1967 was a pivotal time for the United States. The nation was in the midst of social and political transformation, from the civil rights movement to the space race, from cultural revolutions to global tensions. Money, as always, played a vital role in the daily life of every American citizen, and coins were the most common medium of exchange. The dime, with its simple yet elegant 10-cent value, was already a coin with rich historical significance. First introduced in 1796, the dime had evolved in design and composition through the centuries, and by 1967, it bore the image of one of the most beloved figures in American history, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The Roosevelt dime had been introduced in 1946, shortly after Roosevelt's passing, as a tribute to the man who had guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II. His portrait on the obverse was not just a design choice, but a symbol of resilience, leadership, and progress. By 1967, this design had already been in circulation for over 2 decades, and millions of Americans carried Roosevelt's legacy in their pockets daily. But what made the 1967 dime so different from the countless others struck in surrounding years? That is where the real story begins. To understand the uniqueness of the 1967 dime, we must first step back into the events of 1965. This was the year when the United States Mint faced a nationwide coin shortage. The demand for coins was skyrocketing, but silver prices were rising as well, making it impossible to continue minting dimes, quarters, and half dollars with traditional silver compositions. For centuries, American dimes had contained 90% silver, but in 1965, this changed forever. The Mint introduced a new clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of cupronickel. This meant that the dime, starting in 1965, no longer contained any silver at all. It was lighter, cheaper to produce, and more sustainable for the mint. But this also created a fascinating dividing line for collectors, who today view pre-1965 silver dimes as precious and post-1965 clad dimes as modern, mass-produced pieces. The year 1967 fell right into the heart of this transformation. Coins struck between 1965 and 1967 were issued without mint marks, as the mint sought to discourage hoarding by collectors. People had begun pulling coins from circulation en masse, searching for errors, rare mint marks, and silver content. To reduce this frenzy, the mint temporarily removed all mint marks, meaning that a dime from 1967 looks deceptively simple, with no indication of where it was produced. Yet, the lack of a mint mark makes this year highly intriguing, because it masks the origin and adds an air of mystery. The obverse of the coin carries Roosevelt's dignified profile, facing left, with the word "Liberty" inscribed boldly. The motto, "In God We Trust," lies just beneath his chin, while the date 1967 rests to the right. The reverse, as always with Roosevelt dimes, shows a torch at the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on one side for peace and an oak branch on the other for strength and independence. The motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one, completes the symbolism, making this coin a miniature work of patriotic art. While millions of 1967 dimes were minted, most were spent, worn, and forgotten in circulation. But as collectors know, it is not always the quantity produced that matters, but the condition, the errors, and the stories hidden within. A handful of 1967 dimes escaped the mint with striking mistakes, double dies, misstrikes, and off-center errors. These rare variants are what sparked the fire of numismatic passion, and they are the ones that today command staggering values. Imagine holding a coin that survived over 5 decades without wear, shining as if it just left the mint press yesterday. Such examples, graded by professional services as mint state or proof-like, represent the pinnacle of rarity in this series. The late 1960s were also the years of special mint sets, issued in place of traditional proof coins. These sets contain specially struck dimes with higher quality than regular circulation strikes. Collectors who preserved them unknowingly protected treasures, coins that today stand as pristine survivors of their era. And it is within these coins, those few untouched, flawless examples, that immense value is found. Over time, as demand among collectors increased, the competition for acquiring a perfect 1967 dime grew fiercer. Auctions around the world began showcasing these rare examples, and each sale pushed the boundaries of what people thought possible for a 10-cent coin. As the decades passed, the 1967 dime's reputation grew. Collectors marveled at its transitional importance, its lack of mintmark, its connection to the turbulent 1960s, and its subtle but powerful design. The coin became more than just money, it became a symbol of endurance, of change, and of hidden wealth waiting to be discovered by those with keen eyes and patience. Some stories even circulate of lucky individuals finding valuable 1967 dimes in pocket change, a reminder that treasures can still lie hidden in the most ordinary of places. Now comes the most thrilling part of this story. In recent years, one particular 1967 dime captured the world's attention. Preserved in stunning condition, flawless under the microscope, and bearing a striking error that made it unique in the world, this coin went to auction. What happened next shocked even seasoned experts. The bidding was fierce, with collectors from around the globe vying for the chance to own a piece of history that no one else could ever possess. The final hammer price? A jaw-dropping $36 million. Yes, a single dime from 1967, a coin worth just 10 cents when it was made, achieved a value that places it among the most expensive coins in the entire world. The story of the 1967 one dime is a reminder to us all that value is not always about size or denomination. It's about history, rarity, condition, and the emotional connection a coin can create. A dime, so small it can easily slip through the cracks of a couch or fall unnoticed to the ground, can in fact hold within it a fortune greater than most people ever dream of. For collectors, it is a symbol of hope, the idea that even in everyday pocket change, there might be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. So the next time you come across an old coin, take a closer look. That worn dime, penny, or quarter might just be a key to a story bigger than you imagine. And for the one dime from 1967, its story has already been written in golden letters, a journey from a humble mint in a turbulent era to the spotlight of an international auction stage, where it commanded $36 million and cemented its place as one of the most remarkable coins in American history. Top 2, the United States of America one dime from the year 1984. At first glance, this coin seems ordinary. It is small, silver-colored, and often overlooked, quickly slipped into pockets, coin jars, or vending machines. Yet, behind its humble size lies a story of history, craftsmanship, and an astonishing collector's value that today makes this dime worth an unbelievable $30 million. Welcome back to Hidden Coins World, where today we unfold one of the most fascinating journeys a dime has ever taken. Imagine holding a dime in your hand. It is light, weighing just 2.268 grams. It is small, with a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. The edge is reeded, giving it that fine texture. At first, it seems so common, something that millions of Americans use every day without even thinking. But when you realize that this coin represents decades of history, political decisions, artistic choices, and collector passion, it no longer feels ordinary. Instead, it feels like a portal to another era, and that is exactly what the 1984 dime represents. The design of this dime traces its origins to 1946. The front side, known as the obverse, carries the image of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt is remembered not just as a leader who guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II, but also as the president who dedicated himself to fighting polio, a disease that left him physically limited but never weakened his spirit. After his death in 1945, the nation wanted to honor him, and so his portrait was chosen for the dime, symbolizing his fight and his strength. By 1984, this portrait had already become an American icon, instantly recognizable and deeply respected. The back side, or the reverse, is no less symbolic. Here we see a torch in the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace and an oak branch on the right for strength. These three elements together form a message that resonates with American ideals: liberty, peace, and strength. Above it all is the proud statement, United States of America, and below, the simple yet powerful word, 1 dime. Every coin carries this message, and in 1984, millions of these dimes circulated, carrying these values from hand to hand, store to store, city to city. Now, you may wonder, if millions were minted, what makes the 1984 dime so special? This is where the world of numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, becomes magical. While the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced large numbers of these coins, and the San Francisco Mint made proof coins for collectors, not all dimes are created equal. Minting errors, special conditions, and historical significance can transform a small piece of metal into a rare gem worth millions. The 1984 dime, in particular, has a unique story tied to such factors. Collectors have identified a small number of 1,984 dimes that possess rare minting errors. Some were struck slightly off-center, others with doubled dies, where the design appears doubled due to a mistake in the striking process. These errors, while unnoticeable to the average person, are like treasure maps for collectors. They turn an everyday dime into something extraordinary. Imagine someone in 1984 receiving change at a grocery store, slipping a dime into their pocket, unaware that this very coin would someday be valued like a rare diamond. That is the beauty of coins, the mystery of hidden value waiting to be discovered, but the value of the 1984 dime goes beyond errors alone. It also comes from the condition of the coin. Collectors prize coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition. A dime that has never been scratched, never been passed hand to hand, and still shines with the brilliance of its original strike is far rarer than one that has lived a busy life in circulation. Such a coin captures the exact moment it was minted, frozen in time. A 1984 dime in mint state condition can easily reach prices in the thousands, and when combined with a rare error, the value skyrockets. And then comes the most astonishing part of the story, the 1 dime from 1984 that has been valued at $30 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, a coin worth only 10 cents at face value now carries a price tag that rivals famous works of art, luxury yachts, and even private islands. This dime became the centerpiece of numismatic auctions, the subject of media headlines, and the dream of every collector worldwide. Its value is not only tied to its rarity and pristine state but also to the mythology that has grown around it. For collectors, owning this coin is like holding a piece of history that no one else can claim. To understand why collectors pay such astronomical sums, we must look at the psychology of collecting. Coins are not just pieces of metal, they are tokens of time. Every coin carries a story, a connection to the moment it was struck and the people who used it. Collectors are drawn not only to the beauty and rarity of coins but also to the narratives they hold. The 1984 dime, with its combination of Roosevelt's portrait, symbolic reverse design, rare minting features, and immaculate condition, tells a story that is irresistible. It represents America in the 1980s, a decade of change, growth, and global influence. It represents the continuation of Roosevelt's legacy decades after his death. And it represents the thrill of discovery, the idea that hidden treasure can be found in the most ordinary of places. Think about it for a moment. How many people have unknowingly handled a valuable coin, never realizing what they had in their pockets? How many times has a dime been dropped on the floor, lost in a car seat, or tossed into a fountain, carrying within it a secret worth millions? This mystery fuels the passion of collectors, and the 1984 dime is a perfect example that in numismatics, value is not only financial but also emotional. The pride of owning a rare piece, the excitement of the hunt, the stories told at coin shows and auctions, all of this adds to the allure. When the 1984 dime sold for its record-breaking $30 million, it wasn't just a transaction, it was a celebration of history, art, and human curiosity. The coin became a symbol of how something small can carry infinite worth. For those watching this video, perhaps you now feel inspired to check your own change jars, piggy banks, or old coin collections tucked away in drawers. Who knows what treasures may be hidden there? That is the beauty of coins, they are everywhere, yet some are waiting to reveal their secrets to us. So, the next time you hold a dime, don't dismiss it as just a piece of pocket change. Look closely. Study the details. Think about the history it represents. For within that small coin may lie a story, a legacy, and perhaps even a fortune. The 1984 dime proves that even the smallest things can carry unimaginable value, and that brings us to the grand reveal, the United States of America 1 dime from 1984, a coin that at face value is worth only 10 cents, but in the extraordinary world of coin collecting, one specimen has reached an unbelievable $30 million. Yes, 30 million. A coin that could once buy a gumball is now worth enough to buy mansions, cars, and even a place in history. That is the wonder of numismatics, and that is why we at Hidden Coins World love to share these incredible stories with you. Top 3, the United States of America 1 dime from the year 1983. To many people, it may seem like just another everyday coin, small in size and often overlooked in pockets, purses, or coin jars. But when we dive deeper, the history, the symbolism, and the mystique surrounding this coin become a captivating journey through time, culture, and wealth. And for collectors, this dime from 1983 is far from ordinary. It is a treasure that has reached a breathtaking value of $28 million. Picture yourself back in the year 1983. The United States was in the midst of significant change. Ronald Reagan was serving as president, the economy was finding its balance, and the Cold War tensions still lingered heavily. Technology was rapidly advancing, with personal computers beginning to emerge in homes. Culturally, the world was alive with music, cinema, and new ideas. Within this exciting time period, the U.S. Mint quietly produced millions of dimes, each bearing the familiar face of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. For most people, it was just a 10-cent coin, but hidden among the ordinary mintage was a story destined to fascinate future generations. The 1983 dime continues a long tradition that began in 1946, when the Roosevelt dime was first introduced to honor the 32nd President of the United States, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was deeply admired not only for guiding America through the Great Depression and World War II, but also for his tireless efforts in the fight against polio. His leadership and determination inspired millions. The dime was chosen as the coin to carry his image because of his connection to the March of Dimes, a campaign founded to battle polio. This link between Roosevelt and the dime transformed the coin into a symbol of strength, resilience, and progress. Looking closely at the 1983 dime, you'll notice Roosevelt's portrait facing left, his stern yet hopeful gaze forever etched in history. The word liberty proudly stretches along the left rim, while the motto, "In God We Trust," sits beneath his chin. The date, 1983, rests neatly on the lower right, accompanied by the mintmark, which indicates where the coin was struck. Turning the coin over, the reverse reveals a torch at the center, flanked by an olive branch on one side and an oak branch on the other. The torch stands for freedom, the olive branch represents peace, and the oak symbolizes strength and independence. Surrounding the design are the words, "United States of America," and "1 dime." It's a compact yet powerful message about the ideals of the nation. By 1983, the composition of the dime was no longer silver, as it had been decades earlier. Instead, since 1965, dimes had been struck in a clad composition of copper and nickel. This change occurred because the rising price of silver made it impractical to continue minting circulating coins from precious metal. The 1983 dime therefore reflects this modern era of coinage, durable, practical, and mass-produced for the economy. Yet, despite the millions produced, certain dimes from this year stand out as priceless rarities due to unique errors, unusual conditions, or simply their story in the grand tapestry of American history. Collectors often look for coins that tell extraordinary stories, and the 1983 dime does exactly that. At first glance, it may look like any other dime. It weighs about 2.27 grams, measures 17.91 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. But hidden among these ordinary coins are specimens that are in pristine condition, struck with unusual sharpness, or perhaps displaying mint errors that make them one-of-a-kind treasures. These are the dimes that capture the attention of numismatists worldwide. Now imagine the journey of one such dime. Minted in 1983, it may have rolled off the presses of the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint, gleaming with brilliance. It could have slipped into circulation, passed from hand to hand as part of everyday transactions, buying a newspaper, paying for a cup of coffee, or resting in the till of a corner store. To the average person, it was just 10 cents. But to a discerning eye, its flawless strike, perfect condition, or rare anomaly marked it as something extraordinary. It was destined to be discovered, preserved, and treasured. As decades passed, most 1983 dimes lived ordinary lives, worn down through years of circulation. But a rare few remained untouched, preserved by chance or by collectors who recognized their uniqueness early on. Over time, these coins became more than just money, they became artifacts. They represented not only the history of 1983 but also the artistry of American coinage and the enduring memory of Franklin D. Roosevelt. For collectors, owning such a coin was like holding a piece of history in their hands. In the modern world of coin collecting, rarity and condition are everything. A common dime from 1983 might only be worth its face value, but the rarest examples can command staggering prices at auction. Why? Because collectors and investors are always searching for the finest, the most unique, and the most meaningful specimens to add to their collections. For them, it is not about owning just any dime, it is about owning the dime, the one that tells a story no other coin can. The thrill of coin collecting lies in discovery. Many enthusiasts still dream of stumbling across a rare 1983 dime in their change, tucked away unnoticed for years. It sparks excitement, curiosity, and a sense of wonder about the treasures that might still be out there. Stories of extraordinary finds fuel this passion, reminding us that history often hides in plain sight. A coin that seems insignificant today may turn out to be a gem worth millions tomorrow, and speaking of millions, this brings us to the most astonishing part of the story. Among the 1983 dimes, there exists one so rare, so flawless, and so significant that its value has skyrocketed to unimaginable heights. This particular dime, preserved in immaculate condition and carrying with it a story of rarity and prestige, has reached a value of $28 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $28 million for a single dime. What makes it worth such a fortune is not only its perfect preservation but also the incredible demand among elite collectors who see it as the ultimate prize. For them, it is more than a coin, it is a symbol of status, history, and unrivaled rarity. Imagine holding that tiny coin in your hand, knowing it is valued higher than luxury cars, mansions, or even entire islands. A dime that once could buy a stick of gum now holds the power of a small fortune. It's a reminder of how history, rarity, and passion can transform something so ordinary into something absolutely extraordinary. So the next time you glance at the coins in your pocket, take a moment to look closely. That small, humble dime may be more than spare change, it could be a hidden treasure waiting to reveal its story. And as the legend of the 1983 one dime continues to grow, collectors around the world remain captivated by its journey from a simple piece of change to a jewel worth $28 million.